The biggest twist in this whole story is the sudden attention surrounding Sonia UCHE and BRYAN OKWARA, especially after everything viewers have been saying about Sonia's complicated connection with Maurice Sam, and the role Pearl Watts reportedly played when things between Sonia and Maurice went cold. According to the story making rounds among fans, Sonia may now be moving toward a completely different chapter with BRYAN OKWARA, and that possibility has already created serious conversation because of the emotional history surrounding her and Maurice. For many viewers, this is not simply another celebrity relationship story, because they remember the moments when Sonia and Maurice appeared extremely close on screen and in public appearances, moments that made fans believe there was something deeper developing between them. Then came the dramatic change, and suddenly people began asking what really happened between the two actors. The story became even more emotional because some fans felt Maurice was left dealing with the disappointment while Pearl Watts was the person who remained supportive around him. That is where the current conversation becomes interesting, because if Sonia is now preparing to marry BRYAN, viewers are naturally looking back at everything that happened before and asking whether this was the direction her heart had been taking all along. Rumours about Sonia and BRYAN have continued to attract attention because the two have shared screen moments that made audiences notice their chemistry, and whenever two popular actors repeatedly appear close together, fans immediately begin connecting the dots. BRYAN OKWARA already has a strong presence in Nollywood, while Sonia UCHE has built her own following through her performances and growing popularity, so the idea of these two becoming a couple has naturally become a major talking point. But what makes the story even more dramatic is the Maurice Sam angle. Fans who followed the earlier Sonia and Maurice storyline may remember how strongly people supported the pair, with many viewers describing their chemistry as something that felt natural and emotionally convincing. Their closeness became one of those Nollywood pairings that encouraged viewers to imagine a relationship beyond the movie screen. That was why the change in their relationship became such a big subject. Some viewers interpreted the distance between them as a painful ending, while others simply believed that the two were moving in different directions. Either way, the public reaction became intense. The part involving Pearl Watts adds another layer to the entire narrative, because fans began highlighting the support she allegedly gave Maurice during the period when Sonia was no longer closely connected to him. In the eyes of viewers, Pearl suddenly became an important figure in Maurice's story because she appeared to represent comfort and companionship during a difficult period. That is why some fans now look at the possible Sonia and BRYAN relationship and say that life has a way of changing people's paths in unexpected ways. Sonia could move forward with BRYAN, Maurice could continue building his career, and Pearl could remain an important person in the story that fans created around Maurice's journey. The second major issue is the alleged public embarrassment surrounding Maurice. Online discussions have portrayed the situation as emotionally difficult for him, with some viewers saying that the way events unfolded left him hurt. That narrative has continued to spread because audiences often become deeply attached to celebrity pairings, especially when the actors have delivered convincing romantic performances together. When that pairing suddenly disappears, fans can interpret the change as a real-life heartbreak, even when the people involved may simply be focused on their careers. This is exactly why Sonia's reported connection with BRYAN has attracted so much attention. People are comparing the two pairings, asking which relationship has stronger chemistry, which man understands Sonia better, and whether BRYAN could be the person she eventually chooses. Rumours surrounding the possible marriage have therefore become another chapter in the ongoing conversation, with fans watching every appearance, interview, movie collaboration, and public interaction for clues. BRYAN and Sonia also have something that makes this discussion particularly interesting: their professional connection. Nollywood audiences are familiar with actors becoming close because of repeated collaborations, and sometimes that closeness becomes the foundation for stories that spread rapidly across social media. If Sonia and BRYAN were to take their relationship beyond acting, it would certainly become one of the entertainment stories attracting attention across Nigerian social media. At the same time, Maurice Sam's name keeps entering the conversation because of how strongly audiences once connected him with Sonia. Some fans are even asking whether Maurice has completely moved on from that chapter, or whether the memories of Sonia will continue to follow him whenever viewers discuss his relationships. Pearl Watts also remains part of that conversation because of the support fans associate with her during the period when Maurice and Sonia were no longer being linked as closely as before. This has created a kind of emotional triangle in the minds of viewers, even though each person has their own career and personal life outside the stories created online. What makes the entire situation fascinating is that Nollywood has always been a place where screen chemistry can become powerful enough to influence how audiences see actors in real life. Sonia UCHE and Maurice Sam experienced that kind of attention, and now Sonia and BRYAN OKWARA are receiving similar scrutiny. If Sonia eventually walks down the aisle with BRYAN, fans will undoubtedly revisit the old Maurice Sam chapter and ask whether the actress simply found a different path to happiness. Some will remember the emotional moments associated with Maurice, while others will focus on the new chapter with BRYAN. And then there is Pearl Watts, whose name has become connected to the story because viewers believe she stood beside Maurice when the earlier relationship storyline collapsed. The most interesting part is that every new appearance by Sonia and BRYAN could create another wave of discussion. A simple picture, a friendly exchange, a movie announcement, or a public appearance could be enough to send fans back into detective mode.